What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Saxon and you're watching Schmodified. This soon-to-be twin-turbo Lamborghini is going to the Segola booth at SEMA this year. In this video, we're gonna take our dirty, ugly transmission and engine and we're gonna clean it up. And so we have a lot of work to get into. Let's jump right in. In the last video, we finally got the transmission off in order to replace our clutch because that bad boy is burnt out. We're gonna slap a new one in it.
Let's go!
While everything is out, it is now time to hopefully clean up this engine and transmission. As you can see over the years, this stuff looks horrendous. All of the original powder coating has completely come off almost all of the black parts. Yeah, that's supposed to be black. This is supposed to be black. And the aluminum itself, honestly, looks like crap. So I'm gonna teach you guys all the tips and tricks to cleaning up aluminum, making it look brand new, and the inexpensive way to make all of your engine parts look fresh. Although all of this is expensive Lamborghini parts, we can use cheap parts from Harbor Freight. This steel hard bristled brush is going to take the majority of all of this ugly corrosion off of the aluminum and the steel. Iron oxide tends to be this ugly orange color you see here, but aluminum, when it oxidizes, it has all this chalky yellow powder that gets on the surface. Using one of these little brushes cleans it up pretty quickly. It already looks a little better, but it still does not look great. Step one is we're going to remove all of the loose material over the entire transmission. This is the dirtiest part. Before we bother tackling too much of this aluminum, we need to fix some of this paint. As you can see here, it is completely peeling off. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a little bit of paint stripper. That's right, aircraft paint remover. This stuff is probably the best stuff you can buy on the market. Not as good as the old stuff, but works fairly well. All we're going to do, in a well-ventilated area, put some on here. I have taped off anything that I don't want this goop to get involved with. We're going to paint this entire rear section here, and it should peel off fairly quick, hypothetically. In order to keep this stuff nice and wet, we don't want it to dry out, so what we're going to do is we're going to wrap it in a plastic bag. As soon as this process dries out, or as soon as that paint stripper dries out, it no longer works. So keeping it wet is vital to keeping the process going. And then we're going to leave it probably overnight. In order to remove some of this corrosion without damaging the metal on the aluminum, we're going to use a nylon wheel that I got from Harbor Freight on a drill. Pretty lame, not abrasive. Now we're going to try a ceramic wheel on the same drill, and I think this is going to work a little better. Definitely more abrasive. Oh yeah. Honestly, I think it's just scuffing it up more than it should. Yeah, not too impressed by that. Let's go ahead and try a metal wheel. I think this one's going to do the trick. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah!
Screw all the other cuts. That took all of 1 minute, and yeah, it looks practically brand new other than the scuffs in it. Let's do that to everything. Not perfect, but it's coming along pretty quickly. I think the goal we're going to do is we're going to wire wheel everything that we can get a wire wheel to, and then we'll hand brush it a little bit, and then we will pressure wash the rest of it.
Sanding, sanding, everybody sanding.
I left it on for about an hour, and then look at the results here. Yeah, this stuff is just like kind of flaking off in some spots. Now we're going to take a little wire brush and then see if we can remove most of it. The stuff that we can't remove, we'll just do the same process again. It is coming along. Looking good. Nico's been hard at work. You're my little wire boy. Yeah, it's looking pretty clean. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it looks a lot better already. And we've probably been at it like, what, an hour? Yeah. Yeah, looking a lot better. After the first round of using the paint stripper, it removed almost all of it, put a little bit more on there. We're gonna give it a little bit longer, and then we can scrape off all the rest of the black. Shiny, brand new. off the showroom floor, ready to be blown up.
Rinsing off all the rest of the paint.
Come here. And we can take a little cleaner, and voila. All that chalky white aluminum oxide is now gone, and that paint is going to stick and look a lot better. We can't spend all of our time on making that transmission look perfect without first correcting the engine here. As you can see, a lot of that original powder coating is completely coming off. I can peel it off with my fingernail. Everything over here looks equally as grody. Luckily, this paint held up a little bit better, but we're gonna repaint this as well. Also, there's some raw aluminum there. We might clean that up, and also clean up all of these dirty lines. Typically, I would never suggest doing this, but this car is absolutely so filthy that this is the only way we're gonna be able to clean it. We're gonna use some purple power and a pressure washer. I made sure to tape off anything that might get water into the engine and moved all the connectors, electrical connectors, away from where we're going to be spraying. Also, I'm going to try to stay very much away from all these coil packs. I don't want water to get down into the plugs. This should hopefully make this stuff much cleaner, because it is disgusting. FYI, that part right there is supposed to be orange. That's how much gunk is all of this. Woo, baby, she was dirty. As I was pressure washing, you could see that it removed a lot of that old powder coating, so that stuff is definitely easy to peel. Cleaned everything off, got to stay away from all of our coil packs, that's good. Everything looks less brown and dirty and ugly. So now we can work on drying the stuff off. The best way to get water out of places you don't want it to be, compressed air. We're gonna pay extra close attention to any connectors or anything electrical. We definitely don't want water sitting in there. Grab one of these bad boys from Harbor Freight, they work pretty well. Now it is time to tackle this ugly son of a... We're going to use the same paint stripper we did on the bottom. We're going to lather this bad boy up. We're going to leave it overnight. By tomorrow, we should be able to vacuum up all this paint because, well, hypothetically, it should all dry off. We're going to leave this overnight, but in order to hold in all these fumes and make sure everything's stripped properly, throw a plastic bag over it all. And then tomorrow, we'll unwrap it like it's Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
We're gonna leave this overnight, and tomorrow we'll peel it off and see how it looks.
The next day.
We've let this sit for 24 hours. Let's go ahead and peel it off, and look how our paint's looking. Our old powder coat is looking. Crusty. Real. Yes. I'm peeling. Nice.
Hello, what do we hear? That's a keeper.
Goal for that, and the reason we left this overnight is so now hopefully we can scrape this off and vacuum this off without getting it all in the engine bay. Oh yeah, this is satisfying. Yes, I'm peeling. That's a keeper. Oh, that's a keeper. Oh yes, that's a keeper. You ever vacuum out paint? Now we're going to take a steel wire brush and remove all of the rest of that paint that didn't come off with the stripper, and then we'll vacuum this up. Again, since we let this sit overnight, this is nice and easy. The goal here is just to break it up, but keep all the powder contained, paint that's coming off, because we're going to vacuum that back up again. Now that is a supercar intake manifold. The 5-liter Gallardos are the only ones that actually had aluminum ones. You see the 5.2s on the newer generation Gallardos and Audi R8s and Huracans. Those are all plastic. So this is the real deal, boys and girls. Now we need to wire wheel all the rest of this to remove all the remaining paint, and then we're ready to spray some black paint. And voila! You can eat off this, baby! The plan for the intake manifold here is to spray some wrinkle black engine paint on the top. We're going to spray, and then overnight it wrinkles up. Once it's fully cured, we're going to take sandpaper and then sand over the Lamborghini emblem and these runners here. And that way it'll look pretty much just like it did from the factory. The plan for the valve covers here, scuff it up a little bit with something like this, and then we're going to spray a satin black on this and satin black on the cover that goes over there. Lastly, we need to take our little brush and we need to sand off all that aluminum oxide here. That way when we paint this, everything will look nice and clean. And then the engine will look beautiful, as will the transmission. Although we did a pretty great job overall removing all that oxidation and dirt, deep in those corners there, still some oil, still some dirt. If we were to paint this just like as it is, eventually that paint would peel. There's only one solution. Simple green, baby. The Hulk would be proud. This stuff works magic. We're gonna spray this down, and then we're going to pressure wash that entire transmission. You've been a dirty, dirty girl. So very dirty.
You're gonna polish up the Papa though.
Yes, yes. Look at all that dirt coming off already.
Scrub it up, baby.
Now it's time for the fun part. Now it's time to dry it off. We need to make sure this is perfectly dry because when we lay paint on there, if anything's wet, that paint's not going to stick. Before we paint any of this black here, we should probably take the time to clean up this aluminum, because if we paint this and then we have to brush all this and clean all this oxide off, we're going to damage our freshly painted valve cover. So let's go ahead and scuff that up. Unfortunately, the only way to fix that is a little bit of elbow grease, boys. So we're going to sit here and we are going to scrub and scrub and scrub. I did this side over here in probably 15 minutes, and it's not perfect, but it looks a hell of a lot better. And there you have it. Much better. Now we can start masking off and paint both of the valve covers. Ooh, look how pretty she is. She's all mocked up, she's cleaned, she's ready. We are gonna spray this thing with some engine enamel. This is supposed to look like cast aluminum. Hopefully it looks good. The instructions say apply 2 light coats and then 1 medium coat. Ooh, sparkly. So we're gonna do some lighter coats. Honestly, I think it looks pretty good. It doesn't, it still kind of looks like aluminum. And that's I guess the goal. That just looks like dirty aluminum, and that's relatively clean aluminum, relatively. I read online that it runs if you spray it too hard, so we're gonna get it nice and light. Shaking it again every so often. This will just kind of hide any of that ugly aluminum oxide that's still sitting on the surface here. And supposedly this stuff is super durable. Sheesh, that thing looks brand new.
I make this look good.
I'm just hoping it holds up to the elements. We're gonna let that sit for probably 10 or 15 minutes so it's nice and dull. And then we're gonna do 2 more layers of it. But man, what an improvement. FYI, this is kind of what it looked like when we took the transmission off the car. Back. And now it looks like that. This is actually black on factory cars. This sticks out. So we're gonna make her nice and black. We're gonna use some VHT paint, wrinkle black. You have to lay this stuff on a little thicker, and then as it dries, it wrinkles up. Just like your granny. And I love grannies.
Oh my.
We paint everything. It's going to take probably 24 hours before it actually sets and wrinkles up. So in the meantime, we peel this off.
Damn, son, you're looking clean.
By tomorrow, all this glossy black should look nice and wrinkly, just like your grandma. And we love grandmas here, don't we? Respect. We are not spraying wrinkle black. We're just spraying satin black on these valve covers here. We're gonna spray these two, and then we're gonna mask them off, and we're gonna spray the wrinkly boy. Intake manifold will be wrinkle black. Now let's take a look, see. Oh, Fasha. Oh, bitch. Yes, I'm spraying the bolts. I don't care what you think, Kevin. This is how you get away without having to pull your valve cover or your intake manifold. Giving the paint about 10 minutes to dry. We're gonna do one more layer of this stuff, and then we can move on to the intake. I like turtles. Now we're going to spray the wrinkle black on the intake manifold. This is the final thing we have to paint. Thank God. Oh, well, of the engine. I never knocked on nobody. They call me Honest Abe. It's gonna be beautiful, all right? Making sure we spray from all angles. Angles, bro. That way we hit everything. This wrinkly boy will be pretty when we're done. Nice and glossy. We're gonna give that some time to set up, and then we're gonna do another nice old thick layer.
I just wanted to take a quick second out to thank our sponsor, Segola. I've been spraying exclusively with Segola guns for the past 2 years, and I've absolutely loved it. They are miles ahead of the competition. This year, 2024, the first week in November, we will be with this Lamborghini at the Segola booth. If you've been following the video series on the Gallardo, this is your perfect opportunity to come check the car out. We'll be giving away signed t-shirts. They just released their new 4600. I absolutely love it. And we are giving away one of the Segola 4600 Extremes to one lucky subscriber. November 1st, we'll be announcing the winner of a new Segola 4600 Extreme. All you need to do to enter is subscribe to the channel. Links in the description below. I love you, Segola. I love your mother.
We've given this stuff about 15 minutes to dry and no longer comes off on my finger. Now it's time for round two. It still looks glossy, but again, once it cures, it's gonna be nice wrinkled black like that tomorrow. We get on all angles, dog. Angles, dog. Because trust me, if you don't hit this thing from all angles, I'm gonna go to SEMA and people are going to lose their minds. Hey bro, you missed the spot. And that's how everything looks nice and wet. We're gonna give this till tomorrow and we'll show you guys the final result. Looking clean, looking clean. And the wrinkle black has finally started to set. We're gonna still give it another 24 hours before we do anything with it, but yeah, it looks better. Looks wrinkly. Not too shabby. Transmission is nicely painted. Engine's nicely painted. Engine covers are nicely painted. Could we have been fancier and took everything out and powder coated everything? Absolutely. But for 30 bucks or so, everything's looking pretty good. Hit that follow button and tell your mother I love you.